So I had to set a really tough boundary today, and I'm feeling all kinds of emotions, and I wanted to capture that and share that with y'all because I talk about boundaries so much, and I want you to see what it looks like as they're happening. I just had to fire a client. I really loved working with this client, but for whatever reason, the chaos in their life, things that I actually have genuine compassion for, they weren't able to be consistent in showing up for our sessions. And I let it go on probably one session too many. And I said today, I was like, I release you. I really wish you the best. I'm angry. And I'm really sad because I really liked working with you. And I'm no longer open to working with you. I'm no longer available for that. And there's like this decision point in me as I'm setting this boundary. This is not the first time because I got no-showed on before. And I let my anger show up then. And I told him, I feel hurt. I feel unvalued for my time. And that is not okay with me. I need you to show up. And when, this last week, we were not able to make it work, I've just decided that that's not okay with me. I'm no longer open to being on this dynamic, this end of the dynamic of hoping that somebody will be reliable. And what I'm left with, I think one of the reasons I feel so emotional is having to hold my anger and compassion at the same time is a lot of work. I can only go into one at a time. And there's a part of me that wants to do both, be angry and be compassionate. And the truth is I need to make a lot of room for one of them to really express themselves and then for the other one to come in later. But there's this thing of, I talk a lot about boundaries sometimes we do it from this place of the drama triangle. And in this moment, I feel like a victim a little bit. Like my victim is up, this happened to me. And some part of me is taking responsibility for my role, but the other part is like, no, this was shitty, this happened to you. And as a result of that, there is a way that I notice I want to hurt the other person. Like in setting the boundary, I want to do it in such a fierce way that it hurts them so that they get the big impact that they've had on me. But that's not how I believe healthy relationship works. At the end of the day, what I want is not to hurt them, but for them to see the impact that they have on me. And I could have asked for that. I already did. I already communicated that the first time. And now I'm at a different point of the boundary setting, which is about withdrawing my energy from that dynamic. And so I release them from even having to hold this anger. Which means I have to hold it for myself, and I have to ask other people to hold it for me. And really own up to the fact that I'm feeling pain and letting them go from having to validate it and finding somebody else to do that. That's the work of setting boundaries, is releasing people from having to care for us and finding other people who can do that instead. That's what real boundary setting looks like. And it's not easy. But what feels really good is that I've stepped in to advocate for myself. And I know that the next time this comes up, it'll be a lot clearer, it'll be a lot easier, and I won't have as big of feelings of letdown because I'll be a lot more upfront about it. And I got a little sloppy this time around. I'm not known to do that. I'm usually really clear. And I did insist to get paid for all of the sessions that that were missed. So that was what allowed me to kind of keep going with it. And eventually I was like, no, that doesn't work for me anymore. So I'm really curious, like, what is it like for you? Have you ever tried to set a boundary and actually want to hurt the person in the boundary setting because you're in a lot of pain? And what do you do then? And how do you hold yourself so highly accountable that you do the work to process it on your own? I want to know if anybody else is doing that and what that's like for you. Thanks for witnessing me. I hope you learned something. That really was my intent. Bye, everyone.